So we've sort of defined clinical holds, talked a little bit about what causes some clinical holds. Now let's talk for a minute about why you don't want to subject your company to a clinical hold. They can be costly, they can be disruptive, particularly when they're levied, that is, as a trial is underway. But what are the typical impacts to the biopharma in terms of timelines, money, and other resources when the hold is ordered from the outset of that IND stage? Danielle, I'll start with you because you're still on my screen, so it makes it easy for me.
Sure. Thank you, Matt. In my experience, outside the stakeholders do not see a clinical hold as a minor obstacle. And it is not something that is really easy to overcome. So some typical consequences of holds are obviously the inability to treat subjects and start the trial until the hold is lifted. Now, keep in mind that a hold will last until the sponsor is able to address all the deficiencies that Helen was talking about earlier, meeting a complete response to the FDA, and then the FDA notifies the sponsor that the trial may proceed. This can take from a minimum of 60 days to a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So an hold may give signals to stakeholders, including investors, that the product or project may have issues. And depending on the reason of the clinical hold, it might also impact the reputation and the credibility of the sponsor with the FDA.
With the FDA?
Well, it depends on the reason, of course, because some, like Helen was mentioning, might be due to the science. You know, there was toxicology, tox signal that was not picked up early, and this then can lead to a hold. But some holds are due to inadequacies of the chemistry, manufacturing, and control section of the IND, which could be prevented or picked up earlier when new biotech companies have, for example, a subject matter expert that can flag those risks early on and provide a pathway to avoid them or minimize them, at least in the IND application.
Yeah. Helen, anything to add to the conversation around sort of quantifying the quantifying the risk of a clinical hold?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, after the IND is taken off, let's say you're in your pivotal trial and a safety signal pops up, as Daniela mentioned, and it results in a clinical hold. You know, there's a couple of things you have to notify health authorities per their requirements in other countries. If you're doing studies in, for example, the EU or whatnot, you have to notify, the shareholders. You have to notify the IRBs, the sites. And depending on the concerns raised by the FDA, and the regulators do talk to each other, so don't think that because it just happened in the US, Europe isn't going to be aware of it, that it could stop the program. And what that does is it's going to delay your time to collecting that data to then be able to submit it in a marketing application. And, time is money. And so that could have a huge impact on a company where there is just one single product that they're trying to get to commercialization. And the timing it takes for a clinical hold, it's a very back and forth. They put you on clinical hold, then within 30 days, they have to give you a written notification of what the issues are. Then you have to submit your complete response to them. Then they have another 30 days to review, in which case, if they have additional issues, it may go back and forth. And so it's just a real impact to time. There's a lot of notification that has to occur, and it could impact your ability to quickly, or at least not quickly, to be able to submit a marketing application and get, delay commercialization.
Yeah, I mean, thinking holistically about it, it's a particularly poignant conversation to have in this particular capital market situation that we're in right now, right? Like if you're a privately held company that's running on investor dollars with a relatively short cash runway, this can be a real problem to you as far as your burn rate's concerned. I mean, yes. Even in publicly traded companies, the implications on stock performance are clear.